Oh, hi. You know, I used to be on cleanup just like you guys. But see, now I'm washing lettuce. Soon I'll be on fries. After that, the grill. A year or two later, I make assistant manager. And that's when the big bucks start rolling in. Welcome to Copenhagen Blue. Today we're doing motor mount, spark plugs. If we have time, fit a couple other things in. But let's get started. Start out before we do anything. We need to pull our engine cover off. Now on the 3.6 Pentastar, the only way you're going to get to your spark plugs is you have to remove the upper intake manifold. Not exactly the highlight of your day, but it's not the worst thing in the world either. We have to start by removing our air intake silencer tubing. We're also going to disconnect our negative battery cable. We're going to loosen up the worm drive clamp with an 8mm on the back side, the intake manifold to the intake tube. Get that. We use a pair of pliers, squeeze down on this clamp and move it out of the way. On the back side you can see there's actually bolts that go here to support the intake manifold, and whatever douche nozzle was in here last decided that they weren't that important apparently, so he only put a handful of them on. I hate hacks. Now that we have that out of the way, I've moved all our harnesses off and unhooked everything from the intake manifold that I can see. I'm going to undo all of the bolts that hold down the upper intake manifold so we can pull it off. 8mm bolt. They shouldn't be on too tight. If you look, you can see down in these holes. More hiding right there. So these bolts are also missing that are supposed to support the intake manifold, and the guy left those out. But as you can see, the whole intake manifold is now loose. Let's see if we can't get it out. Alright, we got that bracket undone there. It's just loose enough to let us pull our intake manifold off. And it gives us a chance to really see under here. Whew, smells like gasoline. Coming down to the engine itself, we actually get kind of a peek inside of our cylinders. You can see the tops of the valves there. We don't have a whole lot of carbon deposits or anything. Everything looks really nice and clean in there, which is cool. We're supposed to bleed the fuel out of the system first. That might make a mess. It's okay, I'll get over it. So let's take a look at one of our spark plugs. Start by using a 10mm to release the ignition coil itself. Just squeeze down and remove our connector. Pull our ignition coil. Holy cow, stuck, Batman. There we go. Now when it comes to taking out spark plugs, usually I love to use the electric impact. In this case, good old-fashioned hand tools. That way you can go down slowly into the actual well for the spark plug. You don't want to put a hole in there. And then we're going to undo it. Now these, holy crapola. Whoever was in here, those were not tight. Jeez. I mean, I bet I could probably break it free with my fingers. Wife's been complaining of rough idle, so. Alright, let's take a look at our spark plug that we have here. Probably going to grab a gap measurement tool and see where we're at. And what I've... Fuck. Auto lights. Really? Don't put auto lights in your car. They're crap. NGK, people. When you're pulling your spark plugs, put 6 holes in a box. And then you can put them in the position that you pulled them out of. And that way you can know what each cylinder looked like as it came out. Well, the first one damn near came out by hand. Let's see how hard. Oh, yeah, that's what I expected. And if we're using auto light plugs, then I guess this is what I'm going to get as far as quality. Well, I would like to assume that the car's going to run better. That's for darn sure. I'm surprised that it was getting the gas mileage it was getting off of those junk plugs. Never had a good experience with them. Every time I've ever used them, I've always had rough running issues, especially on Chryslers. Never happy. I'm going to be using NGK spark plugs. They're platinums. I have them in my 200 with a 3.6. They run really, really well. I'm going to do it by hand with the extension. I have a special spark plug socket for this. You don't use a regular socket. This one actually has a rubber boot down on the inside that holds on to the porcelain itself, so that way it doesn't fall out. We're just going to go slowly down our tube. Unlike the other guy, we're actually going to torque these to spec. Torque specs for the spark plugs themselves is 13 foot-pounds, which when converted over, multiplied by 12, gets you 156 inch-pounds. So we're going, I can feel that it's stopping as it hits the crush gasket. I'm just going to go until I hear a little click. I feel a little pop right there. We're going to replace the boot on the ignition coil itself. I'm not sure of this brand. It's PJC, so stands for probably just crap. We're going to undo this. You just pull that boot off. Be careful because there's a little ceramic resistor in here that's in between right there. So you want to make sure that stays in with the ignition coil. I did grab some new boots to go down from the coil to the spark plug themselves. Also grabbed NGK, goes with the plugs. We're going to put a little dielectric grease in here too so that they don't stick like they did coming out. The other ones, I was yanking on them trying to get them to come out, and yeah, they were stuck. What you do is just use a cotton swab, just go around on the inside. I'm not looking to touch the metal itself. I'm just putting a thin layer on the actual inside of the boot itself. We have our new ignition coil boot here. You're going to put down the spring from the top. I'm going to put this on. You'll hear a click, and then the spring actually pushes through and it's seated. Make sure it's properly and fully seated. Little anti-seize on the end of the bolt. We have all of our ignition coils back in. We're going to actually tighten down all of our bolts to 71 inch-pounds. And we'll move to the back side of the cylinder head. The original extension I was using was too long, so I ended up having to go down and use two small ones because I couldn't fit this in and get it down the spark plug tube at the same time. So, a little improvisation to make it work. At the beginning of the video, I would have said, hey, before you do anything, make sure you take paper towel and plug up all the holes, because if you drop anything down there, you're pretty much screwed. But I didn't, so I am now. Hopefully you fast forwarded to this point and then watch the whole video. Anywho, we're going to do the upper intake manifold gaskets as well as the lower, so I'm going to take off the lower intake manifold plenum as well. Biggest thing that we had to do was disconnect the fuel. You push this connector in, squeeze the green tab on the top and the bottom, and pull that off. You're also going to need to undo all the connectors for your fuel injectors if you plan on making any headway with it. Now that we have an air intake manifold off on the lower side, you can see actually it's kind of neat where the clean parts are on the aluminum, where the fuel has actually kept the carbon cleaned off as it gets sucked into the combustion chamber. You can see we have a little bit of oil though around here. I hear that that's actually kind of common. Some people put a catch can on here. I don't think I'm going to. This car's also had the oil cooler already replaced, but normally if you ever get your oil cooler leaking, you have oil that comes on down there. This is also the oil pressure sensor that sometimes goes bad. So yeah, great time to do this stuff if you're going to venture in, dive deep and get it all taken care of. Taking a look at our intake manifold on the lower end, you can see here's where your fuel injectors are. You have 6 of those. We also have our lower intake manifold gaskets. Yeah, they see how much they expand from being in there. So we're going to put a brand new set of gaskets on the lower and on the upper. Okay, so we have all of our connectors hooked back up, all of our locking tabs are back down on our injectors. So we'll make sure that everything is good and nothing pulls off, because we don't want to have to take any of this stuff back apart for a loose connector. We're going to cover this up. We're going to do that motor mount. That motor mount over there, whew, we're getting close to being done. Kind of, sort of, not really. For the sake of making things easier while we're here, we're going to do the motor mount on this side and on that side. So the driver's side and the passenger side. And what we're going to start out with is we have a 16mm bolt. Let's take a look at this motor mount here since we just took it out. So you can see the height difference just between the new one and the old one and how much it compresses down. So this will actually bring the motor up a little bit. Now that we have everything installed, we're going to torque it all down to 45 foot-pounds for all the bolts on the motor mount itself. The one bolt over there is a 16mm. This one here is a 13mm. So, yeah, that's cool. To get this off wasn't that bad, but you have to take the 13mm nut off for the bracket for the ECU, and then there is another 16mm bolt that's kind of a nut combo underneath. Then apparently I didn't know about the 16mm that's down on the mount. I had to look at the new mount to see that it was there. So now we're working at getting that out. Now that we have the bolt out from the bottom, should be able to pull out our other motor mount. Ta-da. You see how it's splitting over here? Here's our new one. She's so pretty. So we've got the driver's side done. That wasn't too bad. We had 18mm bolts here. We had another one tucked down on the bottom there. Then we had some 16mm bolts under that 13mm nut there that holds down the ECU bracket. So all in all, that one's not bad. Driver's side, passenger side. Last video we did the front one, so that one's done. The only one left is the back. I don't know a great way to get to that one, whether it's going to be from underneath or up top, but I think I'll have to be from the bottom. So I think I'm going to button everything up top, and then that way I can get to that one either later. Now that we have our intake manifold back on, we have all our bolts lined up, we have our hose connected here, we have a couple of lines that we have to connect other places on here, like hook up the harness back up, but we're going to torque it down. I put the front lower bracket support bolts in. I need to get some nuts to put on there as well as on the back side. Well, it's all back together. We have the intake manifold back on. Everything's torqued down to 80 inch-pounds. I have this good god awful probably intake silencer of some sort that's a harmonic chamber taken and put back on. We have that clipped down. We have our boot that goes over the actual throttle body itself is on and properly seated. We have our 8mm tightened down on both our hose clamps. Whew. We did a driver's side motor mount, a passenger side motor mount. Didn't get the rear one yet. I don't think that's going to happen today. But let's see how it starts. Well, if you thought you heard a vacuum leak when I fired it up, you're right. I had forgot to hook up the line for the power assist brakes. So, yeah, that made it interesting for a moment. But it's all good now. So now I can hook everything back up. Well, that is going to do it for me on this project. We did the spark plugs, upper and lower intake manifolds. We did the right and the left motor mounts. I did order a PCV valve because I don't like the amount of oil that we have in that intake manifold. And when I pulled off the breather tube, there's oil in the tube. So I think we're going to replace that, but that'll be a separate video. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time.